We got Scott here from Arai. He's going to teach us a little bit about fitment, which I think is a big question that needs to be answered really well in the motorcycle industry. People just don't know how to fit their helmet. So I know like there are a couple things out there that people just right away don't understand. And what are a couple things that I think we have to get past right away when it comes to a helmet fit?
Yeah, I would say that in my experience, what I've seen, probably 80 to 90% out there of the people out there are wearing one or two sizes too big. And a lot of that is coming from their helmet being difficult to put on, or they feel too much pressure once they put it on, or they feel a pressure point somewhere on their head. With most helmets, the only thing that you can do is just go to a bigger helmet. So something that's unique about Arai helmets among all helmet brands is that just for the North American market, we make 3 different shaped helmets. So what we're looking at is the hat line of your head. So if you wear a hat and it creates
So
that
you can
kind
show them.
So perfect. You can see where your hair is showing us the hat line of your hair. So typically, if you lay your finger horizontally above the brow bone, that's generally where you want to start. Everybody's head's a little bit different. And then if you just turn to the side, so we're going to start measuring there, and then we want to find the longest distance front to rear. Everybody's head's a little different, so that point where you measure is a little different for everybody. Your tape measure, that's just a starting point. That gives me an idea of where to start for your fitting. So don't get too hung up on your measured thickness. Every manufacturer that sells helmets in the US and Canada is supposed to conform to the DOT standard. So that means that there's a range of size that each helmet is supposed to be. But there's no standard on what shape that helmet is. What's the radiuses inside shaped like? What's the crown, the facial proportions? So something, again, really unique about Arai, we are a family-owned business started by a motorcyclist who needed a motorcycle helmet, run by motorcyclists who wear off-the-line production helmets. No investors, no shareholders. So we want the helmets to work as good as they can, selfishly, kind of, for us, because we wear what we make, right? So we want a really comfortable helmet that also gives us a lot of protection. So we've got 3 different shapes. So if you have a long, narrow shaped head,
I feel like I have like one of those, like, you know those things from Aliens, the movie?
Right.
The sci-fi film? That's me.
Yeah.
When you shave my head, I look like one of those xenomorphs. That's me.
Right. Well, so I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm a round oval. So you and I are kind of the 2 extremes of what we see. And then most people are somewhere in that intermediate oval range. So we make 2 helmets that are specifically for those extremes. But then with the exception of an entry-level helmet that we make and a classic retro helmet that we make 3/4 style, every other helmet in the lineup has a range of adjustability. Make it wider side to side or loosen a little tension front to rear. Or if you need more or less pressure on your face, there's a range of adjustability with every Arai helmet. So we can try to tailor that helmet to you. And I can almost always get somebody in 1, maybe 2 sizes smaller than they would wear in another brand, but actually end up making them more comfortable. A lot of the things that people complain about when it comes to helmet fit is because their helmet is too big. So if you'll just imagine my thumb is the cheek pad, my index finger is the top of the crown, your helmet should be putting pressure on your cheekbone and be right there about a finger's width above your brow. If your helmet is sitting on your brow bone, you have all your sinus cavities and everything here, and helmet sitting way down on your brow bone, that's putting so much pressure in this area. And it's also reducing your field of view. When you're going through a corner, it's reducing your through the corner visibility. And then your cheek pad is now moving down to your gum line. So your cheekbone, your jawbone, those are the hard points of your face. And what we try to do with our facial contour system is to try to put the pressure on the hard points and relieve the pressure in the soft areas. So if you have a helmet that's too big, it's going to put that pressure in the wrong spot. If you're always getting this sensation of, oh, my helmet is so heavy, it's always putting all this pressure on top of my head. If it doesn't match the radius of your head, it's way out here and it's concentrating all that pressure. We all have this ridge of bones come together as a child, right? All those little plates come together. So now you've got all this weight pivoting up there rather than matching the shape of your head and spreading the weight evenly across the crown of your head. For this, helmet model and every Arai helmet model, the medium and the large are the only combined shell and EPS. EPS is expanded polystyrene. That's the styrofoam inside the helmet. By the way, that is the lifespan of the helmet. So the more often you clean your helmet, the better you take care of the EPS, the longer your helmet will last. So get all that salt and sweat and hair product off of that on a regular basis. It'll keep that fit like new, but also make your helmet last longer.
That's that foam insert. The EPS is that foam that we were looking at yesterday, right?
That's right.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
So then this is the comfort liner.
But wait, hold on. Before you move on, I'm just curious. So the large shell, is it bigger than the medium? Is there a medium shell that's like slightly smaller?
No, they are the same.
Okay.
And so for every Arai helmet, this is always the only combined shell in EPS.
Got you. So is the EPS thinner then? Or thicker?
No, it's all in the comfort liner.
It's all in that.
Yeah, so the large is going to be a 7 millimeter thick liner, then the medium is going to be a 10 millimeter thick. The cheek pads are going to be 20 millimeters in the large and then 25 in the medium.
Yeah.
And but then your extra small and your small, those are each their own shell and EPS. So then you've got number 1, number 2, then you move on to your medium and large, that's number 3.
Gotcha.
And then whenever we get into the extra large and 2X, sometimes we will use the same shell for extra large and 2X, but we will make the composition of the shell different. But we do a different EPS for each one of those shells. So there's always a 5 shell, 5 EPS design for every Arai helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a range of adjustability. So this is an intermediate oval, kind of the middle of the head shape range, but you can make it closer to a round oval by removing these inserts. So from your temple to just behind your ear, this can be peeled out and make it wider side to side. And then we have a 3-position buckle, so you can tighten or loosen this, and this will change the overall tension that you feel around your crown.
Okay, so today,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a new helmet.
Yeah.
This is the first day that I've worn this, but I noticed that comparatively to the XT4, it was like kind of rubbing more on my forehead than usual.
So what I would say is that we would go to this new adjustment. So this is only on the XT5. So Arai has a very evolutionary versus revolutionary way of doing things. So every time there's a new thing that we can do, we add it into the current helmet, and then eventually it works its way into all the other helmets. So what we've done with this helmet is here in the very back of the neck roll, you can open up this pocket, and then you can peel away this layer. So this layer is around 5 millimeters thick. So you can peel that out, and it might. Can't make any promises because a long oval head shape sometimes has to be in a long oval shaped helmet.
Gotcha.
But removing that 5 millimeters might be just enough to take away
some of that pressure
point
from that front. But also it could just be that I need to break it in, right?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then you also have the 3-position buckle. So sometimes tightening the 3-position buckle changes how high the helmet sits on your head. So if you think about, you've got this internal radius of the styrofoam, but you also have the radius of your head.
Yeah.
Sometimes tightening the crown liner makes the helmet sit higher so they don't come in contact with each other.
That makes sense.
If you ever have a hot spot that you can't resolve, then I think one of the best things to do is to put the helmet on, feel the hot spot, and then take a piece of tape and then point at it and stick it to the helmet. And then when you take the helmet off and you put your hand inside of the helmet and then you point at it, you point at the tape, put your hand on the inside of the helmet, your fingers naturally come together and you know where that issue is. And then with our helmets, a lot of times you can address that specific issue and then take that pressure away. In a worst case scenario, if you can't adjust the pressure out because your head shape, maybe you got some kind of, knot on your head or something like that. I know myself, the right side of my head is round, the left side of my head is flat. So I always feel a pressure point in the right side of my head to start with. And if it doesn't break in, then you could take something round and find that spot and just compress the styrofoam a little bit. And so what will happen is the styrofoam has like a surface tension to it. And when you break that surface tension, then the styrofoam becomes kind of spongy in that area. And sometimes a lot of your problems is only a millimeter. It's very slight a lot of times. If you can get the helmet on and wear it for a period of time and be comfortable and only develop a problem as time goes on, it's usually only a small change that actually has to be made.
If I'm going out today and I've never bought a helmet before, then I know it's like, a lot of people, they go to like Cycle Gear or whatever and they walk in and it's, some guy making minimum wage and probably doesn't really know about fitment.
Right.
So if you wanted to educate yourself before walking in the door, what would be some things that you need to know when you're trying to fit a proper helmet for yourself?
Well, I think the best thing to do is to go to our dealer locator, and you will see a rating system. So Metkun, pardon my Southern Japanese, but Metkun means little helmet in Japanese. You'll see a Metkun rating for all the different dealers that are in your area, and there's a locator there on our website. If someone has a lot of helmets in stock, there's generally somebody there that knows how to help you. But what I would ask the dealer to do is to remove the cheek pads from the helmet as a first step, because then you can feel the crown in isolation. So what I generally see is that a lot of people go to put a helmet on. If it's difficult to put on, they stop. Or if once they get it on, it's too tight for their face, they're like, no, I need a bigger helmet. Feel that crown and just
see if that thing's gonna sit on your head properly.
Is there any question your hat fits?
Yeah, right.
You can feel it in isolation, and you know that this fits.
This part fits.
Right?
Yep. Okay, so on that note then, another thing that I heard is like, you really, when you put on a helmet and it's squeezing your cheeks, that's actually a good thing. You don't want your head to be jostling around inside that thing. Like is it normal? Is that a thing where it's supposed to be that your cheeks are pushed up like this?
It's something we're trying to not have as the normal.
Okay.
Right? So one thing, when you look at each Arai helmet, you'll notice that the open is tiny, right?
Yeah.
So I've taken the liner out here, so we're missing some of this, but this is a large. And you can see how my fist is taking up all that space, right?
Yeah.
Certainly your head is a lot bigger than my fist, right? So what you'll see whenever you look in the front of the helmet is there's actually a lot of room side to side there. So we're trying to do what we call the facial contour system that tries to put the pressure on the hard points and not on the soft points. So if the helmet really fits the size and the shape of your head and all of this area is in contact, then it doesn't have to be as tight on your face and you still be comfortable.
Well, I think that's all I have. Scott, thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, my pleasure.
If you see this measuring tape, run.
We're just trying to get you in an Arai.
That's right. We're trying to get you in the perfect helmet with this measuring tape. All right, that was interesting. I learned a couple things. Like, first of all, I think it's super interesting that really what it comes down to is the padding more than anything. It's not the helmet, the shell, the foam. Like, it's really just that padding in there.
Yeah, and I think there's a really good point that the closer your head is to that styrofoam, the better the helmet does perform. There's adjustments you can make. Comfortability is important, but the closer you are to that, the better the helmet's going to do its job. And that even, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was also saying is that people's biggest problems, the safety issues that have happened with this helmet, is because someone was in too big a helmet too, even in one of these. And they fit so well. You don't need to be in the wrong size helmet with this one. You have so much versatility. What we love about the XD5, so much versatility for the type of riding, but also just going with an Arai in general, you have more that you can
options for fitting it to your head. And another interesting thing was that most of the time people's pain from helmets is because they're wearing one that's too big for themselves. So I think, again,
your head's not as big as you think.
Yeah, nice try, buddy. It's like little boys, they always wear shoes that are way bigger than,
Everyone's like, I'm a large helmet.
Yeah.
Bitch, you a small.
See, you can say that and crush their soul.
I'm a medium.
Yeah.
But a helmet should fit like your hat. It shouldn't feel weird. Shouldn't hurt.
Yep.
And that's
That was definitely one of the big takeaways. All right, well, this is our fitment video.
Yeah. Well, this is why you want to go with Arai.